Hare Krishna, devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hope you all can hear me. So thank you for joining this morning Bhagavatam reading. Let us offer prayers. Om Agnanathimirantasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् शुश्रूषो श्रद्धदानस्य वात्सुदेव कथारुचि स्यान्महत्सेवया विप्रा पुण्यतीर्थनिषेवनात् शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्णा पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना हृदयन्तस्थो इह भद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृसतां नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी तदा रजस्तमो भावा कामलोभादयश्चये चेतयेतैरनाविद्धं स्थितं सत्त्वे प्रसीदति एवं प्रसन्नमनसो भगवद्भक्तियोगता भगवत्तत्त्वविज्ञानं मुक्तसङ्गः स जायते विद्यते हृदयाग्रन्थिश्चिद्यन्ते सर्वसंशया क्षीयन्ते शास्य कर्माणि दृष्ट एवात्मनीश्वरे. Thank you all for joining once again this morning Bhagavatam reading with all your kind prayers and blessings of the Lordship Sri Sri Radha Shyam Sundar, Radha Mata, Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada. So we'll read the verse today 3:9:25 from this literature called Srimad Bhagavatam. We'll share the screen. शोऽशौ अध्रकारुणो भगवान् विवृद्धा प्रेमास्मितेन नारायणं बृहम् नयनां बृहं विजृम्भन् उत्थाय विश्वा विजयाय च नो विषादं माध्या गिरा अनयतत्पुरुषः पुराणा शोऽशौ अधुभ्र कारुणो भगवान् विवृद्ध प्रेमास्मितेन नयनां बुरहं विजृम्भन् उत्थाय विश्वविजयाय च नो विषादं माध्या गिरा अनयतत्पुरुषः पुराणा. What meaning? Saha, he, the Lord, Asav, that, Adabra, unlimited, Karuna, merciful, Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, Vivruddha, excessive, Prema, love. Smitena, by smiling. Naina Amburam, the lotus eyes. Vijrumbhan, by opening. Uttaya, for flourishing. Vishwa Vijaya, for glorifying the cosmic creation. Cha also, as also. Na, our. Vishadham, dejection. Madhya, by sweet. Gira, words. Apanayatat, let him kindly remove. Purusha, the supreme. Purana, oldest. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Lord, who is supreme and is the oldest for all, oldest of all, is unlimitedly merciful. I wish that he may smilingly bestow his benediction upon me by opening his lotus eyes. He can uplift the entire cosmic creation and remove our dejection by kindly speaking his directions. Purport. The Lord is ever increasingly merciful upon the fallen souls of this material world. The whole cosmic manifestation is a chance for all to improve themselves in devotional service to the Lord, and everyone is meant for that purpose. The Lord expands himself into many personalities who are either self expansions or separated expansions. The personalities of the individual souls are his separated expansions, whereas the self expansions are the Lord himself. The self expansions are predominators, and the separated expansions are predominated for reciprocation of the transcendental bliss with the supreme form of bliss and knowledge. The liberated souls can join in this blissful reciprocation of predominator and predominated without materially concocted ideas. The typical example of such a transcendental exchange between the predominator and the predominated is the Lord's Rasalila with the gopis. The gopis are predominated expansions of the internal potency, and therefore the Lord's participation in the Rasalila dance is never to be considered like the mundane relationship of a man and woman. It is rather the highest perfectional stage of the exchange of feelings between the Lord and the living entities. The Lord gives the fallen souls the chance for this highest perfection of life. Lord Brahma is entrusted with the management of the complete cosmic show, and therefore he prays that the Lord bestow his blessings upon him so that he may execute its purpose. So, very beautiful verse. Somebody would have maybe we will be able to share much better realizations. And this is the verse that we use to wake up the lordships, right? So every day morning. So somehow I got this verse. So uh, Lord Brahma here requesting Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu to wake up or open his eyes and bestow his merciful glance on him. So after Lord Brahma, as we had read in the previous chapter, he manifests from the lotus, right, from the Garbha ocean. So after his disparate search where he came from, and he hears this word tapa, and then he performs tapasya for a long time. So finally he finds Garbhodak Sai Vishnu in a beautiful yellow garments lying on the Ananta Sesha. So actually beautiful descriptions of the Lord were given in the last chapter, right? So Brahma was giving how the Lord is so beautiful. So after seeing this wonderful form of the Lord, Brahma offers prayers in this chapter. So in the first 5 verses, Lord Brahma describes the form of the Lord. So in the next 5 verses, he talks about the difficult situation of the conditioned souls in this material world. So and following from 11 to 13, he talks about how Lord reciprocates with the different devotees, like pure devotees and demigods and people who follow Vedic rituals, charity, etc. And then Brahma offers his obeisances for next 6 verses, and then all the while it looks like the Lord did not even glance on Brahma yet, right? So still is requesting. So next few verses from last few days we have been hearing wonderful discussions. So from verse 20 until this verse 25. So these verses Lord Brahma is humbly requesting, um, making his request, right? So actually, I mean, we see Lord Brahma is the supreme person in this material world. As far as this material world is concerned, he's very, very powerful. But if you see the way he is approaching the Supreme Lord Vishnu or Garbhodak Sai Vishnu in this case. So very, very in a humble manner he is approaching. He is not showing any of his kind of great powers. So he is requesting three things. One is asking for empowerment to create. That is the primary purpose that is his task, that is his service to the Lord. And then the second thing is asking empowerment to do that, right? So and then second thing is asking, okay, while doing that, one may think that, oh, I did so great. I mean, when somebody does such a small thing in this material world, we know that how difficult it is to create any small thing, right? So I mean, if somebody does something, some invention, so science in the scientific world, I mean, it's like very, very prestigious, right? So one may become very falsely proud, right? So, but here Lord Brahma is creating the whole universe. I mean, creation in this material world, right? So, I mean, how great task that would be, and he is asking so that he will not fall prey to that false ego or do worship mentality, right? Oh, I did this. So it's coming from the Supreme Lord. And also, while doing all this, he doesn't want to deviate from his service to the Lord, right? So those are the three things he was requesting. The Lord is making those requests in this last four five verses. And after doing all those things, and Brahma becomes silent, and it looks like, of course, he did a lot of tapasya, right? I mean, it's very, very tiring. I mean, when we get up sometimes, I mean, few days early morning, it will be, I mean, it's challenging. And Brahma did this whole tapasya, I mean, for so many years alone under the water, right? So it's of course it may not be. I mean, it would not have been easy for Brahma also to this tapasya for so many years. So it's very tiring, and then he did it all the for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, because he heard that word tapa. Right? So one has to perform some austerity or tapasya for the pleasure of the Lord. So and also, I mean, of course, the intention is very, very important in this whole process, right? So there are many instances. I mean, we hear that the Lord accepts our actions, but leaves aside our intentions sometimes. In case of Putana, and also he accepts our intentions and leaves our actions if the actions are not right, right? So whatever is good, he will take that. But primarily, the chances of, I mean. I mean, intention is more important, because the actions maybe we may not be able to. I mean, uh, I mean, action is also good. I mean, required, both are required. So, but I mean, if both are together, it's good. But if just action on a with a body, and if our intention or the mind and the intelligence is not engaged properly, and the benefit may not be the ultimate benefit, we may not get it. So, of course, I mean, we hear if anybody does any service for the Lord, right? So the Lord never forgets it. So even though we forget it, so the Lord never forgets it. So how about that service if somebody does it under the guidance of a devotee, right? So, I mean, it's of course it's, if it is a pure devotee, I mean, it gets ultimate benefit. But if the service is done under the guidance with a proper intention, so it gives very, I mean, ultimate benefit, right? So for material things also, I mean, if we don't invest our consciousness, I mean, we may not be able to get the thing that we want in so easy way. For example, if I want to, I mean, if somebody want to become a multimillionaire, right? So I mean, he may earn, right, by working hard, but I mean, the chances are low. I mean, if he doesn't invest his consciousness, just working like a donkey and earning some dollars, he may not become a multimillionaire. But if he invests his consciousness how to I mean, how to invest that money in a proper way, then he may be, his chances are easy, right? I mean, if he, of course, he has to have that karma and all. So but I mean, what I was trying to say is that I mean, our consciousness is more important, whole thing. So of course, after doing all these things, and Brahma is concluding his request very nice way, I mean, in this verse. So he's, I mean, very poetic way is asking, making his final request, requesting the Lord to open his eyes. So the Lord, who is the supreme and the oldest of all, is unlimitedly merciful. I wish that he may smilingly bestow his benediction upon me by opening his lotus eyes. He can uplift the entire cosmic creation and remove our dejection by kindly speaking his directions. So few things he is saying here, very nice. So of course, his first is the supreme Lord. He's supreme. Right? He is the topmost. So there is nobody that who is above him. I mean, including Brahma. I mean, himself. He is he is the topmost personality in this material world. So of course, in elsewhere also he says Iswara Paramakrishna, right? In Brahma Samhita again, Brahma's praise. So we hear that. I mean, supreme Lord Krishna is the Ishvara, right? He is Parameshwara, Parama. And then again he says in the same Brahma Samhita, Advaitam Achyutam Anadin Purana Purusham, right? So he says there is no beginning, and right, he is the oldest. So Purana, he is the oldest. Then he says he is unlimitedly merciful. There is no limit to his mercy. So how the Lord is unlimitedly merciful? I mean, because here Brahma is saying, so he's unlimitedly merciful. Then why does he create this material world which is full of suffering, right? I mean, of course, that's what he is interesting Brahma to do it. So, I mean, if we see that in the purport, first line, where Prabhupada says the whole cosmic manifestation is a chance for all of us to improve themselves in devotional service to the Lord, and everyone is meant for that purpose. So generally, we hear two reasons, right? Why this material world is created. Troublesome material world is created. One is it's like a prison house, right? In a society, when the city is built or community is built, I mean, government doesn't want anybody to go to jail or misbehave, but still there will be people who misbehave, and they want to keep them aside for the proper functioning of the society, right? So I mean, they want one purpose is for the prison is detention, right, from harming others or from harming themselves, and the second one is the correction, right? So the correction of this material world, I mean, we are trying to enjoy the somebody else's property, right? I mean, if we are trying to enjoy somebody else's property, we are going to put in a jail. Same thing here, we are trying to enjoy the God's property. So I mean, without having that proper understanding, so we are in this material world. So these are the two reasons that we generally hear, detention and correction. But here Prabhupada is giving a little different perspective. I mean, you can say third reason. So for spiritual upliftment, right? So I mean, that is the reason that, I mean, spiritual upliftment as given in the Bhagavad Gita third chapter also. I mean, so the Lord says there, the whole creation set forth. So for many generations of men and demigods, he has given the scriptures, and he has given the demigods for the people to worship, so that the people can perform yajnas and then become happy, right, in this material world, and also make progress towards the ultimate benefit. So he's sending this whole process, so scriptures, and then through that one will be able to purify, right? And then after doing the scriptures, he's just not leaving it. He is coming in himself in many incarnations. And I mean, of course, as Lord Krishna, he came and again taught Bhagavad Gita, right? And in many other incarnations, he performed many, many wonderful pastimes so that people can remember and then discuss, and then, I mean, of course, by doing that, and one will become purified and go back to Godhead. Still, he performs his pastimes. He doesn't leave it there, right? He sends his pure devotees to explain those pastimes to people like us, right? I mean, very, very wonderful way I mean, the devotees explain. Of course, if the devotees doesn't explain, they become just like a stories, right? We may not be able to get the nectarian, I mean, intentions or the details of those pastimes, right? If the devotees doesn't discuss. So yesterday, I mean, we were hearing about, I mean, this Govardhana pastimes, right? Why, how, I mean, what is the reason that Krishna lifted the Govardhana hill, right? So I mean, I mean, otherwise it's just like lifting a Govardhana hill, right? Because he wanted to have this association of all the devotees, and also, of course, he want to crush the pride of Indra there. So I mean, there are a lot of details that one will get it by hearing from the devotees. So, and also he always accompanies us as a super soul. It doesn't matter what kind of body that we take, an animal body, a worm, or whatever body that we take, he accompanies us. So, I mean, of course, and also he says in the Bhagavad Gita, he is the friend of all the living entities, and though he is the proprietor of everything. So, if he is a proprietor of everything, I mean, these people, I mean, we want to become close to them, but here the Lord want to become close to us. So, being he is the proprietor of everything. So, and I mean, at the end, even if we can eat the food, we cannot digest it without his, I mean, blessings, right? So that's what he says in the Bhagavad Gita. So even then again, what we hear in the case of Putana, right? Even a person who approaches to kill him, then he gives the a motherly position in the spiritual world, right? So she just came simply to feed her breast milk, though smearing the poison on her breast, right? So, I mean, I was just remembering the Uddhava, how he remembers this past time when he was meeting Vidura, right? So, how Bakiyam Sanakala Kutam. So, I mean, he's so unlimitedly merciful. I mean, Brahma is saying here, I mean, there are so many reasons that one can give, right? How the Lord is unlimitedly merciful. So, we may not be able to see his mercy, I mean, because we are covered. right? So, but he's there throughout our, life in this material world. I mean, throughout our lives in this material world, and giving so many ways for us to come back to Him. So, even when somebody is in this path of bhakti, right? If one may not be, some may not be very serious, right? Like me, maybe. So, but he still shows his special mercy, right? So sometimes I think how fortunate it is to become in the being in the association of devotees. For a moment, let us forget about all our material positions and connections, right? So we are when we are associating with the devotees and having a wonderful kirtan or the discussion of Bhagavatam, right? So I mean, we are having this discussion with some of the devotees, or I mean, many of the devotees, or all of the devotees were going back home, back to Godhead, right? We are getting this opportunity, I mean, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and his followers, right? So I mean, we are going to I mean, we are discussing in that association, I mean, about the Supreme Father and offering a lamp to him, or engaging in his discussions, right? I mean, we cannot do this alone. I mean, we are able to do that in the association of our devotees who are going to go and see the Supreme Lord in person, right? So how fortunate, I mean, are we, right, to have this association? So I mean, the merciful Lord. So I mean, with all these things, I mean, anybody can say, I mean, nobody can say that there is anybody who is more merciful than the Supreme Lord Himself, right? So then the Lord Brahma says, I wish that he may smilingly bestow his benediction upon me by opening his lotus eyes. So I mean, he's requesting the Lord, can you please open your eyes, my dear Lord? So then, what is he requesting for? He's requesting, can you please shower your glance or smile, right? After opening your eyes, please glance or smile at me, which is filled with compassion upon me, right? So then, what happens if the Lord glances? Vishwa Vijaya, victory of all over the universe, right? Vishwa Vijaya. Vijaya means victory, Vishwa means universe. So all over the universe victory. So what is the effect? So, and also the all our Vishadas gets destroyed. Vishadas. So how the Lord removes Vishada? I mean, then he says again, Madhya Gira, sweet words. So by speaking, right? I mean, he is asking the Lord to speak or share something, or give some instructions to him, right? So we have to hear. I mean, just by he is asking the Lord to look at him, or I mean, glance upon him, so that he will be. I mean, and also speak some words, right? So that is the way one will be able to get out of one's vishadas, or the material um, afflictions, or whatever challenges that we are having, right? So one has to hear and one has to read the glories of the Supreme Lord. I mean, of course, by reading is also hearing from Prabhupada, and also one should get a chance to. I mean, one as soon as one gets a chance to hear from pure devotee, or any devotee, about the glories of the Supreme Lord, right? One should be eager to hear. So that is the way one will be able to get out of one's vishadas. So that is the reason Brahma is requesting the Lord to, I mean, open his lotus eyes and shower his glance upon him. So it's very beautiful verse. I mean, of course, I have very limited knowledge. I'll not be. I could not share. I mean, I'm sure this would have been came to somebody else, would have been. They would have shared much more wonderful details. So please forgive me if I said something not appropriate. So please show your sharings. So
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare
All
Krishna.
glories to Guru Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Thank
Yeah.
you for the very nice class, Prabhu. You spoke very nicely. And the message is also very, encouraging, inspiring, and pleasing for anyone to get over these vishadas of this material world and to rise to the spiritual platform. It's not very easy, I feel, even now after so many years of being in Krishna consciousness. But at least the prayer is so, it's coming from such a wonderful, the most merciful Lord Brahma. So that is very inspiring. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, 3 more minutes. Anybody want or add anything?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Dandavat pranam. Jai Srila Prabhupada. I think you received this verse, this very special verse of the Lord opening his eyes and requesting him to open eyes, because by your determination and organization, we are getting our eyes open every morning by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam class. So thank you very much for that always. And I just wanted to since you were speaking on Govardhan, I was wanting to just kind of reflect, add that how there's this beautiful prayer to Lord Govardhan requesting for residence at his lotus feet. So this is a prayer. This one here. This is Govardhana Vasha Prarthana Dashakam. 10 prayers for residence at Sri Govardhan. And so this is actually the goal that we may be able to one day reside in. This is what devotees pray for when they go there. There's one spot where they build a house. They build a little. They make with the Govardhan Shilas themselves on the side of Govardhan. They'll build a little hut there, requesting Govardhan that when we die we can come back and stay there. Of course, we have no qualification to ask that, but that's just the prayer. That's the aspiration that one day we can stay there and at the feet of Govardhan in his mercy, under his shelter. Not that we will stay there, that we will be under his shelter. We can have a shelter, and that's the prayer of the devotee, that this material world, there's nothing in it. There's nothing in this material world. And then I was thinking that this is also a nice prayer in our chanting, that we're chanting to Krishna. We're praying to him that please give me residence at the lotus feet of under the shelter of Giriraj Govardhan, because in this material world there's nothing of value, nothing good in this world. There's nothing that we want in this world that's worthwhile. And similarly, Lord Brahma is praying like this here, that the material world is, he's such a great person, but he's just praying to the Lord, please give me the strength or the intelligence how to create and do this service to you. I just want to serve you. So that was just a small realization.
Thank you so much sharing about the Govardhan. Thank you for, because you're all joining, you're joining and also all the devotees are joining. Because of that, we are able to discuss and read every day, Prabhu. So otherwise, it will not be. So all your inspiration, so we are able to continue. So.
Well, you're very steady. Like, we join and don't join, all these things, but you are always there and you're always facilitating it. And that's not easy to do. That's a great service and sacrifice and accomplishment.
Can we end now? If
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances.
Prabhu,
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhuji, wonderful words and wonderful prayers from your side. It was really so beautiful. I don't know how to explain, but really wonderful talk by you. And I second everything that Gopal Hari Prabhu and Sandhya Mataji said. Without you being here, we will all not even know. At least I don't know what I have to pray. I depend on this particular call every day in the morning, thanks to you. So,
for encouraging that, saying that. So then it'll give more strength for me to continue the service.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, all of us.
Thank you, Prabhu. It's really same. This is something to look forward to every morning, and it's so much from the heart. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. We'll end now. पंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। वंदना श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की